into the end zone. It's Niehaus. Feldman, that one will get in. That's a good point right there. A shot coming here. That's a goal. Lifted to left center field. Gets off the warning track into the wall. Transition three. Boom. Knocks that one down. And it's a goal. What a beautiful play. Dutton, look what I found over the first. It's a 3-on-1 all the way. Yes. There he goes.
Your home for the Bobcats. KFJB-TV.
Welcome into Bobcat Live here at Wayward Social inside of Rosie's. We've got a great night, as you can already tell. It is cheer to kick us off, which is always a great way to kick us off. But we want to start with just a shout out to Wayward Social. Great deal tonight, so you can keep that New Year's resolution. There is $2 off grilled chicken Cobb salad or a buffalo chicken salad. And along with also the fifth quarter coming up, join Wayward Social following Friday night home games for the fifth quarter. $5 wristbands available at the door for unlimited bowling. We'll talk bowling later. Plus $2 slices of pizza and 2-for-1 shareables. All ages welcome. Parents and adults are welcome to hang out at Rosie's while the kids are bowling. But now we're going to hang out with Val Corson in her third year in cheer. And really, it's been awesome to see. We've seen clinics, we've seen all these things, but the cheer program is really growing in the winter months.
It really has. Actually, overall, it's grown. Football, every year our tryout numbers continue to increase. Our squads are increasing. When I first started, we had one varsity squad of 20 and then a JV squad of 14. We've since then, our varsity football squad has grown. Our JV squad has grown. We have, for the first time, I have 2 varsity basketball squads and a JV basketball squad. And then we started with 1 wrestling squad, and now we're up to 2 wrestling squads. So
that's fantastic. And one thing we've noticed over the last 3 years, you've also integrated some cool things. I know with football, we've had some cheerleaders that are differently abled. I know we've integrated a lot more kids' activities and things, but even more coaching staff. Can you talk about your team, Amanda Ewing and Danielle Gudeth, who will be with us later in the show?
So Danielle came on last year as she is the wrestling coach, and she primarily does wrestling, and I could not survive the season without her.
Right.
She is amazing, does a wonderful job with the wrestling squads, and is really just a rock star in everything she does. And we brought on, this was the first year we were able to bring on another position for an assistant coach, just to kind of help us balance the 5 squads we now have for winter instead of 3. And so that it's been a lot of fun. And, you know, we have room to grow. It's the coaches. We need the coaching staff to grow. But we do cut. I mean, we cut enough every year that I hope the program does continue to just, you know, flourish like it is.
Yeah, and that's one of the things as you look at it at Allie Morrison Mead, of course. That's an all-day event for those wrestling cheerleaders. This week, a Monday night game, and then a Tuesday night game. They were both home games, so you're going back-to-back. Those increased squad numbers, really important. But we also got to see the benefits of your winter camp. We got to see a bunch of kiddos on the court. Can you talk a little bit about the camps you've had?
Yeah, so we started last year. We did. We kicked off the first one was a football kids camp. The response we had was just enormous, and we thought we have to do it again. So we did a winter camp last year. Brought back the fall camp again. Like we're talking 120 littles plus the 40 cheerleaders that we have to manage, but it's so much fun and they love it so much. This year our goal was to do a winter camp and we wanted a holiday camp, and we pulled it off, and we had about 65 or so littles register for that winter camp, which is still it was really good, and it was a lot of fun, and it's so exciting to see how much the cheerleaders love working with the littles. And when they walk in the parades and those littles, you can always see the bows and
Yeah.
the shirts, and they're like superstars to the little kids. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's always, if you want to be famous, be a high schooler and that goes and hangs out with elementary school kids.
Absolutely.
You might as well be LeBron James. It doesn't matter to them.
It's very true.
But it really seems like you're not going to struggle with participation numbers once those kiddos get all the way up to high school. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about from the cheer perspective?
I just think, we do have both wrestling and basketball that happen in winter, but we do bring them together. And even right now, we have both squads combined, and they're practicing and preparing for a pep assembly next Friday. And so it's really fun to see both programs get out there and join and mingle and kind of do their thing together as one big program. So.
That's fantastic, and really the work that you've done, it does make a big difference. I know I'm always impressed from basketball, watching backflips across, and I'm still, that blows my mind every time he's able to accomplish that. But really, it does add a different energy, and you have a great squad. It even adds a much different energy here on Bobcat Live as well.
Yeah. And
Go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, I couldn't be more proud. This is also the first year that we've had Nick made All-State.
Oh, wow.
We sent 3 to Honor Squad for the states, and I have 2 trying out for All-Stars right now. So, yeah, we have great things happening.
That's a lot of great things happening within the cheer program. Thank you very much, Val, for jumping on. Like I said, we'll talk to Danielle Gudith at the end of the show. But when we come back, we are going to have boys bowling. We're going to have sophomore Caden Slifer along with head coach Nathan Clark as they try to go for state 11 years in a row. You heard that right, 11 years in a row. You're watching Bobcat Live here at Wayward Social.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social for date night, family fun, or the company party with plenty of space for everyone. Visit Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to start planning your group outing at Wayward Social, the place for fun.
You planned and saved for your child to go to college, but medical school after graduation was a surprise. A happy, expensive surprise. Wells Fargo Advisors can help. For more than 125 years, we've created wealth management and investment strategies aimed at achieving our clients' personal financial goals. When opportunities surprise you, turn to Wells Fargo Advisors. Together, we'll go far.
Wells Fargo Advisors is located at 14 East South Ridge Road in Marshalltown. Call them at 641-752-5401. They're a member SIPC.
Welcome into Bobcat Live here at Wayward Social, and we are here with boys bowling. As you see the wonderful cheer squad out there, we're there on the end with head coach Nathan Clark, but I want to talk to the sophomore Caden Slifer a little bit. Caden, 259. How does that feel to bowl 259 as just a sophomore?
It felt really good. I didn't know I could do that.
So when you're looking at it, when did you know in the round, this could be the highest score you've had? When did you start feeling that?
Probably my 5th to 6th frame.
And when you look at that, you look at 259, and then you end with a 438. Both leading in that 259 was the high point against Lincoln, and Lincoln's no slouch. Lincoln's probably the best program in the state. How does it feel as you're in your sophomore campaign? It seems you're just getting better and better as the season goes on. Does it feel like it's becoming more natural? Do you feel less nervous as you compete?
Yeah, probably.
That's one of the biggest things, I think, when you start off, it's varsity. You're playing guys older than you. But then you go all the way to after Christmas, you're playing Lincoln, who's going to be probably the best squad you're gonna see all year, and you very calmly got a 259. Coach, how does it feel when you see a sophomore on your team there being able to throw a 259?
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. But anyone on our team can do it at any moment. All 6 kids are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
So.
And you talk about that, and I've mentioned, Caden, you're a sophomore, pretty young, but this roster does not have any seniors on it. You're juniors and sophomores, so you're going to have a little bit of growing pains, but you also know you can build up that team. What's your message to this young team, Coach?
We just got to stay calm in the moments. Can't overthink anything. We just got to stay calm. We can't get too high or too low with our emotions.
Yeah.
Can't freak out over one bad ball. It's what it is.
And it feels like bowling is one of those sports similar to golf a little bit. Like, you want to be excited, you want to be things like that. Now, on a football field, maybe you can show more of that emotion. Maybe on a basketball court, you can do that a little bit more. But golf and bowling, if your breath and your energy gets a little bit different, it's just those little minor things that can definitely throw you off. But you said you have 6 guys that can basically do that 259, and it's really showed. The last 3 matches over 3,000 points, which is a great number. What are you seeing in the growth of the overall team?
We're getting better every single day. 3,000 was our goal standard for the season. So significance of 3,000 is 200 average for every single game throughout that meet. So 3,000 is the standard, but I think we're better than that. Our new goal is 3150 is what we're going to try to shoot for.
And Caden, what do you think about that 3150? Does that feel like, when you look at your teammates, do you think that's doable?
Yes.
And with there not being any seniors, who do you look up to in maybe that junior class as kind of a leader?
Either Jaden Byfley or Aiden Cowan.
Okay. And would you agree those are kind of the leaders you see, Coach, on your team?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, but everyone can be a leader on this team. I even have a freshman that's the 7th man.
Yeah.
He's very capable of being in that mix too. So.
Oh, wow. And depth is a great thing, and sometimes in these you can be top heavy, but it really seems that's what it means to build a program. And we talk about, and this is my last question, but it's for both of you, what would it mean to get to state for the 11th year in a row? Of course, Caden, you weren't there all 11, but basically almost your entire life has been Bobcats have gone to state in bowling. So, Caden, what would it mean to you to go to state once again?
It would probably make me feel happy and excited to go again.
Yeah, you're the most consistent sports program in Marshalltown right now. Coach, what would that mean to you?
To continue the record would be huge because it is a state record right now. So continuing that record, it would be awesome.
Well, fantastic. And that's been boys bowling. They have really gotten stronger and stronger. You heard it from Coach Nathan Clark. They're looking to even expand that point total up into the 3,100s and beyond. Let's cheer them on when they have the chance to go 11 straight to state. When we come back, we will have girls bowling with head coach Dustin Peterson along with senior Sydney May. You're watching Bobcat Live here at Wayward Social inside at Rosie's.
At Sports Plus Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy Center, we customize each patient's treatment plan to their individual needs. What does that mean? It means that not every back or knee problem is treated the same, and that your program will be unique and designed especially for your needs or problem. This improves how quickly you will return to work or sports. The Sports Plus staff is encouraging and takes pride in your successful recovery. This is just one more reason why champions choose Sports Plus Physical Therapy as their favorite place to rehabilitate and train.
McGregor's Furniture and Mattress is your local furniture store in Marshalltown, and they are proud to support Marshalltown Bobcat Athletics. If you want to kick off football season in a new recliner, pass the bread at a beautiful new dining set, or lay up on a luxurious sectional sofa, McGregor's is the right play. Score the mattress of your dreams with an assist from their friendly and knowledgeable staff. You'll be the household MVP when you bring home the winning selections at McGregor's Furniture and Mattress, downtown Marshalltown. Open 7 days a week.
Welcome into Wayward Social for Bobcat Live. We have the cheer squad here all evening. Always makes it for an even more fun time. And the fact that a great food deal is you get $2 off a grilled chicken Cobb salad or a buffalo chicken salad if you just come down here. A great full crowd coming in here at Rosie's, along with a big bowling crowd as well. But we've got the stars that come from the girls bowling team here with Coach Dustin Peterson, along with senior Sydney May. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good.
Good. And we've got a lot of good stuff to talk about, but I want to start with you, Sydney. Big thing, your senior year as you walk in, you're one of the senior leaders. How has this season gone from what you were hoping for?
I definitely think this season has been a lot better than previous seasons. I feel like this team has bonded a lot better than previous teams.
Yeah.
We get along pretty good.
And Coach, when you hear that thing from a chemistry perspective, it seems team chemistry has a big impact, even if you can't quite put a stat next to it. What do you point to, like, really the growth of team chemistry?
It's probably me.
Yeah.
No, really. We do a lot of things together.
Yeah.
We try to do a lot of things together. More than anything, we have a good group of kids. So they're good girls.
Yeah.
Naturally, they're going to bond.
And Sydney, as you look at, has there been a highlight for you this year, something that you're going to remember for years to come?
I think it's more than one thing. It's the bus rides. They're really fun to and from competitions. They're interesting, but it's a good laugh.
Yeah, it's the rides are almost all the fun. It's like that's where all the stories come from. That's where you can kind of let your hair down. You did get a big win. You were one of 3 different fall sports that beat Ames. How did it feel to beat Ames right here at Wayward?
Great.
Yeah, it never feels bad to beat Ames. It's everybody's favorite pastime. But, Coach, looking at it from your perspective, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Like a senior leader like Sydney, what has she brought to the table for your squad? How has she helped your program?
Well, honestly, that's it. I mean, she's a great leader. She started it last year and just carried it through to this year. She does a good job. She does their team speech before. I don't know the rally up. I'm not privy to it, so I don't know everything she's saying to the kids. But she definitely is our voice.
How does that feel to have Coach talk about that he sees you as a leader?
I'm glad he does, because I don't know. It's special.
It is one of those things, like, I think maybe when you're in your senior year, to be a leader is one thing, and it looks great, but what you see on the other side when you're older and you look back, usually the best leaders as adults were good leaders in high school. It's just things that you build now that will continue to carry out. So when you're looking at it, seems the team is continually getting a little bit better. Coach, as you look towards this post-Christmas part of the season, what are some goals that you have for your squad?
We only have one. I mean, it's to qualify for state.
Yep.
And we kind of look at every meet as just additional practice. I mean, our wins and losses really, ultimately, they don't matter.
Yeah.
If we were able to win the North, great.
Yeah.
We still have conference meet coming up, and I definitely think that how we started the season and where we're going to be at that time, we're going to be better.
Yeah.
So ultimately, all we really care about is state qualifying, and it's going to be here. So it's a big bonus for us to be here and where we're comfortable and where they cater to us and they help us out quite a bit with everything. So it's a great comfort knowing we're going to be home for that.
And what total are you looking for? Do you think will be the number to hit?
State qualifying, about 2,500, over 2,500 for the girls.
And then, Sydney, how much does it play in a role to be at your home, on your home lanes to accomplish it? How much of a difference does that make?
I feel like it gives us kind of an advantage because we know how the lanes are going to be since we're here anyways. I don't know. I feel like if we were to go somewhere else, it'd be difficult to try to get the feel for everything.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense as everything feels normal.
Well, there's other things that go into that too. I mean, they put us up in the little party room that's over here. So the girls have their own room. Mm-hmm. All the rest of the girls have an area, and we have our own room. We bring in food for them to make sure they're ready to go, and it's a long day. I mean, it's 2.5 hours of Baker games and then 2.5 hours of individual games, and it's a pretty long day.
Yeah, and to just be comfortable means a world difference. You don't get that bus ride that you love so much. That's the only thing that you have to trade for that. So I want to end my last question here, half dad hat, half coach hat. To see was it your daughter did a 263? Is that
262? I think
262. Yeah. When you see that, one as a coach, from the coach side, how did you respond to that?
Well, it was kind of crazy because her first game was a 132.
That's crazy.
And she was frustrated, and I could tell she was upset and mad. And I'm just like, hey, you're there. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And then her next game, she bowls that. I didn't talk to her.
Yeah.
I just left her alone, and those guys dealt with her, and I didn't say really too much to her. So,
then it was awesome. Throw on the dad hat. It was
awesome.
A dad.
I mean, her goal this year was to get a 200. She achieved that earlier in the season, and then she pulls off a 262, and then here this last week she bowled another 200. So that's kind of where we wanted to be. I mean, next year she plans on she's going to be bowling for Clark College, and that's huge for her.
And those are just great opportunities. Again, looking for some of those things to happen here at Wayward for the conference meets. Hopefully, a chance at state. But this has been a great time with girls bowling. Continue as Dustin Peterson continues build the program. Really, with the leadership of Sydney and other girls as well. There's more and more to come in the future. So thank you very much to girls bowling. When we come back, we will go to the hardwood and we will talk boys basketball with Coach Michael Apple here at Wayward Social.
YMCC, competitive athletics, affordable tuition, on-campus living, online courses plus 2 campus locations, unique programs, career training, small classes, short-term hands-on training. Choose MCC.
Welcome inside of Wayward Social here at Rosie's. Here we're going to talk basketball. At the end of the last segment, I said we're going to hit the hardwood. Coach Dustin Peterson said, well, actually, we're on the hardwood as well. So the non-greased up lanes hardwood, known as a basketball court, here with Coach Michael Apple. Coach, since Christmas, there seems to be a lot of fight in the team. It seems the small little execution pieces. So far, 4 games in, sitting at 0-4, but a few plays here and there, it's a 3-1 post. So as you're looking at it, there's got to be some coulda, woulda, shouldas. But when you look at it, what's the difference between that 3-1 and 0-4 as you look at the tape?
Yeah, a lot of it, like you said, is execution in different situations, and each game's been a little bit different thing, in my opinion. Waterloo East, I just didn't feel like we guarded the drive well enough, and then they got to the hoop way too often. Yeah. And then Ames is going to be a tough one regardless, and we knew that, but just the turnover aspect that first half where we gave them easy points, and that first quarter really is what it was when it came down to that game. And then Cedar Rapids Jefferson, I just didn't feel like we came out with energy and played as hard as we could, and we were a little flat and got down in that one, and we couldn't capitalize and come back. And last night was probably our most complete game we've had out of break. Just our effort and intensity and focus and execution was all really, really, really good that game. Once we got rolling there, first half was a little dicey again, but first quarter, and then after that it was really good. So just got to put it all together here.
Yeah,
keep competing, and that's what it comes down to.
And not been an easy road to hoe whatsoever. And you talked a little bit about that first quarter. Really, when you just look, especially from the offensive output, it just seems that first quarter each and every game. The third quarter at points has been down, but then you look against Jefferson, that was maybe one of the most complete quarters of basketball you've played all year. So is there something you can point to why you think that first quarter might be a little bit slower in terms of offense?
I think it's just realizing at sometimes what the defense is doing.
Yeah.
And, each game's been a little different on what they're doing, as far as that goes too. Some teams are pressing us. Some teams are jump switching us, and we're having a hard time in the half court, and we're turning it over there. So it all comes down to just taking care of the ball regardless of what the defense is in, and not letting them get easy baskets, and just a better job of understanding earlier what's going on and how we need to attack and make plays and score.
Yeah, and looking at it, especially you look Tuesday night, I thought Lamar Johnson gave you some really good minutes, and it's always nice in those opportunities when Lamar's also getting opportunities to score because he's always going to give you effort. Thought he did a great job. And I know we talk about Kyle a lot, and it's a much bigger team than that, but one of the things we've noticed since Christmas, I'm just going to read off over the last 4-game stretch, Kyle Smith since Christmas is averaging 24.25 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, but the efficiency is crazy.
Yep.
He's shooting 48% from the field, 43% from 3, and that's not just 5 or 6 makes, that's 18 makes. Just from the outside looking in, last year leads the team in scoring, but you could definitely tell there's a lot on the shoulders of Trey, of Corey, of Carter, like where he didn't have to be that main piece. Coming into this season, everyone in the state knew, all right, he's going to be the focal point of the offense. It seemed that he sputtered a few times, just, all right, you're the guy. You have to make decisions. But since Christmas, he feels like he's totally comfortable in his skin being a go-to guy no matter what defense is thrown at him. Is that what you're seeing? Is there something else you're seeing to the growth here?
Yeah, no, he's doing a lot better job with guys denying him and putting pressure on him and understanding how to attack that. And our guys are doing a great job of finding him when that happens. He's getting some easy baskets where he's back cutting to the rim and getting layups that way. And we run a lot of offense where we're setting screens for him, where he's coming off a stagger, 2 screens one direction, he might go back the other direction, and ultimately it takes everyone on the floor being able to execute and set good screens for him to get open. And and he's done a really good job of getting his feet set and not rushing it, not being too quick with it, and taking good shots, and that's why his numbers are the way they are right now. He's just taking really good shots, letting the game come to him a little bit more, not forcing the issue. And our guys have done a really nice job of getting him the ball in places he can score.
And that's one thing you can – I was watching the North game. I was calling the Jefferson game. One of the things that you can really see, especially with a lot of you're playing a ton of sophomores, and even the juniors and things you're playing may not in and out of the lineup, is being patient enough for that second pass, that skip pass. And that's really grown since Christmas time as well. One of the positions that I've been back in town for 10 years that has been the most consistent position for the Bobcats is really that point guard position. Looking at, your brother's point guard was Jacob Smith, very good player. And then Jacob Smith really got his start, freshman, played as a freshman. You then hand that off to Armani Thomas, all-time Bobcat leading scorer as a freshman. You look at Trey Brooks, came in the second half of his sophomore year, and now you look at Drake Gersma starting from day one his sophomore year. Each guard is much different player in a lot of respects, but what is it about that lineage and Drake specifically that makes that such a strong position for the Bobcats?
Well, speaking for Drake, specifically, he understands how to play the game at the point guard position. He's done it a lot of years, all growing up. That was the position he played, and it's an important role for us. He's responsible for a lot of stuff we do. And if he can't get it to where we need to, we're in trouble. And if he's not on the floor, we're in trouble, and that's an area we need to figure out a little bit more as we, in the years to come. We need to have a little bit of a backup there, but he is responsible for a lot of things we do, and he's done a really good job at a young age of doing that, because there's been some really tough teams we've played that apply a lot of pressure on him and try and take things away that we do, and he hasn't got very frustrated too often. There's been a few times here and there we've had to have conversations, but it hasn't been anything bad. I mean, he's very responsive, very coachable. He'll listen to you when you have to tell him something like, hey, this isn't how we do it. We got to act the right way, and it's always very he's fixing it the next time he hits the floor. So really proud of him, continued progress he makes, and that ultimately comes down to wanting to do it, putting the time in the gym. I mean, there's a lot that goes to it that other than just showing up for practice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and there was one play Monday night, and it wasn't actually a play, and I've seen Drake do it a few times, and it may be my favorite thing about him. It was an upperclassman, not going to say who it was because that doesn't really matter, but they weren't in position where they needed to be. Drake immediately told them, and you could tell what he was saying because he was pointing to it and got in their face and said exactly where they need to be. Next time down, what happened? There it is. And I think that's a quality young point guard. Yeah. You can't think you're young. You have to feel like you're in control. Yeah. No, we had a conversation after one of the games. I can't remember. It might have been Ames. Yeah. And it was, we need to grow up quick here. Yeah. Yeah. We're not sophomores anymore. No. You got to start playing like you're a senior now because that's what we need. And our guys have really responded well to that and understood kind of what we're talking about just with the maturity of how do we approach every game. How do we deal with pressure? Yep. These things that you're seeing early on, and we're at a point now where we've seen it. We've seen it now, and we need to adjust and play the right way out of it. And our guys have been very coachable. These past 2 days of practice have been great as we prepare for Roosevelt. It's a lot of fun to coach this group. It really is. And it just feels like they're on just the precipice. It almost feels like just one of those have to flip the other way. And you've got a tough test tomorrow night. You have Roosevelt sits at 7-4. 7-4. They've won 6 in a row. They're a really, really good team. There's names that we already know. You have Remy Taylor, Charlie King, both really, really good guards. Charlie King's one of the top sophomores in the state of Iowa. What do they do that really is going to be tough for you? Well, for Charlie King, he can kind of score it from a lot of different places. He's got the ability, if he's spotting open, we can't leave him open for open shots. He's going to knock them down a lot of times, and then he has the ability to put it on the ground and drive it, and he has a nice pull-up, and then at times they'll throw him in the post, and he'll post up. For Remy Taylor, he's kind of he'll live with a little bit of the threes he takes, but he's gonna bounce it a little bit more and bounce it, and he's gonna kind of do a few moves, and he sometimes he takes quite a bit of time, but when he gets going to that rim, it's really tough to guard. So we got to have our guys ready. Number one, guarding them on ball defenses needs to be good, but we need to have guys in positions to help. Guys that are on guys that aren't necessarily much of a scoring threat compared to those two guys, and favor them more and being help and make those other guys try and beat us a little bit. Yeah, and that looks like Gatewood on Monday night specifically got in trouble off the bounce a little bit, and that's been some of that. So, but when you look at that, it really does feel like the team's on the precipice of grabbing one of those wins that maybe looking from the outside in, somebody thinks they may not get. What would you say the key for the Bobcats on offensive end? We talked a little bit about defense to have a chance tomorrow night in Des Moines. It's been, since break, it's been just taking care of the ball early on and taking really good shots, taking high percentage shots, and get off to a little bit better start than we have been. That'll help us out a lot more than it has. Just when we're not getting down by 10 right away, things like that, where we're burying ourselves. Take care of the ball, defend like we have been against North. We're putting in a few different principles defensively right now. That's helping us out a lot. Good. And just keep that effort and play hard and be ready to play a game and have a belief that we're going to win. And that's something we have been really trying to discuss and drill in their heads. This is the next game, and we're focused on winning it. And these are the things we need to do win. But ultimately, it comes down to believing that first and being ready and prepared to play a game. Awesome. Well, good luck. We'll be down there calling both the girls and guys game. Thank you, Coach Michael Apple. When we come back, we are going to interview the aforementioned Drake Gersma, the sophomore point guard for your Marshalltown Bobcats. You're watching Bobcat Live inside at Rosie's at Wayward Social.
Do you know Lennox Employees Credit Union makes loans for recreational vehicles? So if you'd rather be enjoying this winter on a snowmobile, the Lennox Employees Credit Union makes loans for them. Plus ATVs, jet skis, boats, and trailers. The loan process is so easy. Loans for used vehicles like campers and snowmobiles are available too. Get rate info at lennoxecu.com. Fun things up with help from Lennox Employees Credit Union. 1004 East Main Street in Marshalltown. Member NCUA.
At Greg Young Automotive, we go the extra mile for our customers across Iowa. Why do customers choose us and keep coming back? Because our commitment to exceptional service and satisfaction never wavers. With our extensive network of dealerships throughout Iowa, we leverage unbeatable pricing and offer a better inventory selection than other dealerships. Visit any of our 6 locations across the state and experience the Greg Young difference, where we'll go the extra mile for you.
Welcome into Bobcat Live. A big shout out to the cheer squad tonight. We're going to already talk to Coach Val Corson at the end. We'll talk with Danielle Gudith, the wrestling cheer coach. But I am joined by sophomore guard Drake Gersma. You heard Coach Apple talk a lot about the amount of pressure put on your shoulders. But one thing, first time, just watching a lot of freshman games last year, you always look for kind of who carries themselves a little bit differently, who kind of, it's a little bit of the swag quotient that you can just tell there's a lot of confidence. As you've come up playing basketball, who are a couple of the players that you really love to watch, maybe at that NBA level or college level, that you've tried to model your game after a little bit?
My favorite player overall is Steph Curry.
Okay.
Some of the old players, I really like Michael Jordan, Kobe. I really like how KD plays at the college level, or he was at college.
Yeah.
Now he's just a rookie in the NBA, Rob Dillingham.
Yep.
And, yeah, that's basically it.
I can see a little bit that Dillingham is not as much of a shooter as going to get to the rack against anybody. High confidence, small guy, high confidence. But as you come in, over 10 points a game, almost 4 assists, and to the person, I think the first time that I had a sense that you were going to be starting this year was at the end of last year. Talking to Coach Apple, he goes, Drake's the one you're going to have to look at. When talking to other people that are already in the squad, Drake's something that you look at. You've played point guard your whole way up. How do you approach the position? What are the things that become really important to you when you think of what it means to be a point guard?
I think mostly just taking care of the ball, handling the ball, getting the ball out to open cutters, open people, and yeah, mostly just taking care of the ball and get to the rack when I can.
Yeah, and that's I think the first thing before anything about your handle, anything about anything else. Coach Apple goes, he doesn't turn the ball over. And that seems with any coach when you're talking about a point guard, do they hold on to the ball? We talked also about the last 10 years of point guards here at Marshalltown is Jacob Smith played at that next level. And, of course, Armani definitely could have played at that next level, had some offers. Trey is playing at another level in a different sport. But at each one of those, it's been the most consistent position. When you look at your career, what was the biggest transition for you going from freshman ball to starting opening 9 at point guard at the varsity level? What's been the biggest learning curve for you?
I would just say mostly getting pressured, and it's a whole new level when it comes to defense, and I just have to see the floor and take care of the ball.
And that's one thing we've definitely seen, and looking at, and we mentioned the Ames game with Coach earlier, that was a game where it felt like it took you to the second half to kind of find your sea legs offensively. Then you come back against Jefferson, and you have a 17-point output. What did that Ames game teach you that'll be helpful for the rest of the season?
Just take care of the ball more, and if I have them on my hip, then just go finish.
Yeah, get them on the hip and go finish, and that's one that you've definitely seen. There's not anybody, if you get them on their hip, that you can't take to the rack. We've seen that all year long. Very good finishing at the hoop. But now as you're looking at Roosevelt, you're looking at Coach talked about, there's some dudes. Charlie King is the real deal. Remy Taylor's good as well, but Charlie King is the real deal. What, as you've gone through this week, what are you looking most specifically to accomplish tomorrow night down in Des Moines?
Just handle pressure, limit my turnovers, and then also just get the ball to open people and win the game, obviously.
Yeah, and that's and if you can get the ball to the open people, not turn the basketball over, I think we've got a great shot tomorrow night at Des Moines Roosevelt. A thank you to sophomore point guard Drake Gersma. We're going to stay on the basketball court and flip it over to the girls as Coach Brian Murphy of the 5-7 Bobcats will join us before their meet-up with Roosevelt tomorrow night here at Bobcat Live.
The right insurance agent can make all the difference. Assured Partners agents represent multiple insurance companies. They can pick and choose from a larger variety of outstanding insurance options. Assured Partners also handles life and health insurance and Medicare supplement coverage. With access to local, regional, and national insurance companies, Assured Partners will create policies tailored to the coverage you need. For more information, go online to assuredpartners.com/Marshalltown. Power through partnership with Assured Partners in Marshalltown, Toledo, and West Des Moines.
Legends American Grill is the perfect place to watch your favorite team. Enjoy wings, nachos, steaks, and prime rib available on Friday and Saturday nights. It's game on for great food and your favorite drink to wash it down. You like burgers? Legends has fantastic, unique burger creations like this. The Legends Burger. Absolutely delicious. Gather with friends, enjoy your favorite team's games with the NFL Sunday Ticket, and make some memories. Legends American Grill in Marshalltown and our new Newton location, where the game is always on.
Welcome into Bobcat Live inside at Rosie's at Wayward Social. It's a pretty nice night out there. It's a better night in here. I'm with Coach Brian Murphy. Tuesday night, 42-2. Had to be just nice to get a breath in your lungs, a win on the board. How did it feel post-game?
It was good. It was good. It was definitely a bit of a bizarre game, but it was good, and hopefully a chance to build a little bit positive momentum going forward.
Yeah, and you look at that, you talk about positive momentum moving forward. It feels like there's been growth points, but it almost just in terms of injuries has been a little bit, you can plan towards one thing and then your roster, your lineup is all going to change in a moment. But one thing you always see on the sideline is you are a highly positive person on the sideline with girls no matter what the score is. There isn't, unless one game that we will not mention on some inconsistent reffing, I have not seen you really change your demeanor a whole lot. Where does that come from for you? Why is it so important to stay that even keel positive presence on the sideline?
One of the things I try to do as a coach is recognize, the only thing that really gets me riled up, generally speaking, is a lack of effort. And that is not something that I've really run into since being here. We have girls that when they're on the floor, they go hard. I can live with mental mistakes and things that go wrong as long as we're working to correct those. And, if it was a choice to make a mistake, that would be one thing, but usually that's not the case. And so, if it's an effort thing or if it takes a little bit of, rah-rah to get us going, that's one thing. But, ultimately we want girls to be okay with mistakes as long as we're learning from them. You've got to keep up that philosophy no matter what's happening in the game if you want the girls to reflect that same mindset.
And we talked a little bit about this after Monday night's game. But where there was a little bit of effort from some, up and down, it felt like, but not from Millie Heitman. This week she's averaging 11.5 points, been double digits both games. What can you talk about Millie, not just from the skill level, but from the effort level from her?
Yeah, no, she's definitely already. We're about at the midway through the season. She's already made a pretty good jump for us since the beginning of the season, and more and more she's looking for her own shot, which is something that we need. We need people attacking the rim and looking for that shot. And I mean, she loves to pass the ball, and that's something that has always been the case. And for most people, the shot is opening up the pass, and that's something she's got to take out as recognized. You got to be a threat to shoot before you can set up some of those great passes, and that's something she's starting to see. The dividends of that certainly the last couple games.
Yeah, and you love that as a coach. That, hey, one of your best players is unselfish, but there comes a point, with sit on the sideline and things, someone that can get you a bucket. Is offense has really been the place where it's been the struggle to get enough points. What are some things that you've seen as a growth point in the offense, especially with young guards coming off the bench, that you think is the biggest stride you've made this year?
It's honestly kind of a weird question to answer because it feels like we've had different versions of our season so far where, we had the first game in 3/4 where we were kind of more or less fully healthy, lose Kins for a while, so we kind of had one version of our team. We hit break, and then suddenly we've got a different version of our team also coming out from break. And so I guess the answer in my mind would be our adaptability, where we've had to adjust and kind of put people in different spots than they were at different points of the season. I mean, somebody that comes to mind is Georgia Jansen, who really, when you look at where she was playing last year, where she's been forced to play this year, where she's essentially playing guard, more or less playing out of position, and it's put her in different spots. And so, we're asking a lot of our girls to adapt, and that's something that, I think everyone's risen to the challenge of that willingness to, I may not necessarily be comfortable here, but I'm going to give it my best effort and try to make the best out of it. And that's something we're going to have to continue to do as we work our way through the season.
Yeah, and you look at whenever you look out and thinking of Millie and Georgia on the wings, is how many just by that long arm they're able to get into passing lanes defensively, and Georgia is. I always think her offensive strength, and sometimes it can be negative as well, but her offensive strength, she doesn't waste a whole lot of time thinking about what she's going to do. It's she has the quickest first step to being going. She makes her decision right away and quite aggressive. We are going to have Frankie on after this, and Frankie's an interesting, she's, very, very skilled, has made a nice jump. How do you coach someone where it seems like Frankie gets officiated differently almost every single night, and there's a lot of calls on her that are based on she's just taller than other people, versus how do you coach that up when you're not quite sure how she's going to be officiated?
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of growth from her on the defensive end where, the first 3-4 games of the season, she was constantly going to the bench with foul trouble, and really that has not been an issue since. And that's a credit to her willingness to finally kind of adjust some of the way she's playing. I also think some of her timing got back a little bit where she's anticipating like she was last year. So she certainly adapted to what is allowed and not allowed with the defensive end. I think the hardest thing with her on offense is you've got to be strong throughout your entire presence and your entire move to the rim. And so, one of the things we talk about, not just with her, but with every player, is if you want to draw fouls, you have to be balanced and you have to look intentional. And I think there are times where if she looks off balance, she's not getting the benefit of the call. And I'm sure she's hearing us, she's getting sick of us saying the word balance over and over, because that's been our mantra with her. But I'll be honest, we probably coach Frankie as hard as any player on our team. We are very hard on her, and we have high expectations for her, and so it's something she's gonna continue to hear from us, and it's something you can see in bits and spurts where we're trying to throw her at different angles. We're not relying on the backboard every time, finishing soft at the rim. And that will allow her to score more efficiently when she's not getting the benefit of the call, even if she's getting banged around a little bit.
And really watching her over her first year and a half, and then sometimes just looking big picture, like what is that ceiling for her? But you think of if she's able to add that a real adept, skilled offensive side. She's had a 20-10 game this year that had nothing to do with points. That 20-plus rebounds, over 10 blocks. What do you think, like when for her ceiling, does she even understand how good she can be from an offensive and defensive side?
I would say no, and a lot of it comes down to, and this is a really difficult thing for young posts to understand, is the best posts do their work before they touch the ball, and you don't necessarily understand that until you start doing it and you see the difference, right? Because right now she's working really hard to score every time, where sometimes even when she's open, it's harder than it should be, and it's because she's not as consistent doing the work ahead of time. And honestly, it's fun to watch her and Ellie in practice together, because so often it's Ellie the one telling her, hey, when I'm guarding you like this, you need to be doing this so that I can't get to the ball. And so having that kind of personal coach on her side has been really helpful, really beneficial. And it's always nice as a coach where you can kind of step back and say, Ellie, you got it. You already know what we're going to say. So tell it to her, and let's do it again.
Yeah, that's one of the things is just going back a couple years. I remember in hearing interviews with Luka Garza, he would start his post up at half court. It's all about positioning. If you get on whatever side of the post you're going, you can just seal them off and just drive them. And it makes it all easier on the other side. So you look at that, and I want to, again, because that backcourt's so much different. I know we've talked a lot about it, but I saw Naya, she came in, but along with Morgan as well. You look at those freshman guards. Where have you seen their growth trajectory over this first year?
I mean, it's been big, and certainly it's something that we're going to keep pushing them. I mean, it is the classic kind of getting thrown into the fire where, fortunately our schedule allowed a little bit of an easing into it, but then suddenly you hit that brutal stretch where at about 4 or 5 straight teams that are going to press, they're going to be physical, and the Waterloo East, Fort Dodge games, those are going to be kind of the rough and tumble type. And so the biggest thing that we ask any guard, but especially our young guards, is you've got to have kind of that goldfish mentality of, you make a mistake, you learn from it, and you move on, you flush it. And that's something that Morgan especially has been really good about, where she'll come out of the game, and I mean, she's right there, ready to listen, ready to absorb. She's probably one of the most coachable players we've had in years, where, I mean, she's ready to take on anything we ask of her. And that's all you can ask as a coach is, somebody that comes in ready to learn, ready to listen. And again, a credit to her teammates, where sometimes they're talking as much as we are or more. And that's the best thing, when you've got a young guard getting thrown in, you want those teammates that are going to have your back no matter what. And that's something that we've seen, really from the opening day this season.
And it also is an interesting watching her is she's stayed aggressive and intentional on the offensive end as well. And that seems to be the place with young guards where maybe defense comes before that, but that willingness to stay aggressive and intentional on the offensive end, that's kind of been the big thing. Is I've watched her mistake or a success, she's still going to be aggressive and intentional. So tomorrow night you've got Roosevelt, 6-6, 5-0 in conference, very good basketball team. What really are you looking at for this Roosevelt team? What challenge do they offer to the Bobcats?
The biggest thing that we've got to kind of anticipate and recognize tomorrow is they're a very versatile team, where it almost feels like you're playing 2 or 3 versions of the same team, where they've got some of the girls back from last year that we kind of know. So Bailey has been their leading scorer now for about 2 or 3 years, but they've got their leading scorer is a transfer from Valley. They've got another girl off the bench that's from Ankeny, I believe, and they've got a couple girls from North. So there's kind of this element of, we're going to prepare for a certain style while recognizing that the personnel may shift depending on what group they bring in. And so, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but it is one of those games where we're kind of more focused on ourselves than our opponent, where at the end of the day, our defense is not going to change depending on, we're not going to overload on one player because they've got a lot of threats. So we just need to be defensively sound, and then as we have been saying all season, we got to take care of the ball and make sure that we force them to score half-court offense and make sure that we take care of the ball on defense. We know they might throw a couple different defenses at us, but again, it shouldn't be anything we haven't seen yet this season.
And what we've seen this year especially, but even in the last year, if it comes down to a team having to score on the Bobcats in the half court, it's Bobcats in the half court, very, very sound defensive team. It really comes down to limiting those transition points. But that's tomorrow night, and we'll have the call here on KFJB-TV down at Roosevelt. This has been Coach Brian Murphy. We're going to get a chance to talk to sophomore center Frankie Long right after on Bobcat Live here at Wayward Social.
Wayward Social is the place for fun. With 20 lanes of bowling, leagues for all levels, great food and drink options, an awesome arcade, there is a ton of fun to be had at Wayward Social for date night, family fun, or the company party with plenty of space for everyone. Visit Wayward Social on Facebook for updates on specials and live music. It is all on South 6th Street in Marshalltown. Visit wayward-social.com to start planning your group outing at Wayward Social, the place for fun.
Sportsmanship starts with us.
As a student athlete, I need to model good behavior and represent my school appropriately.
That means respecting my teammates, coaches, opponents, the officials, and fans.
If I do that, so will others, and being a good sport becomes a way of life.
To all of Iowa's student athletes getting ready to compete, remember, sportsmanship starts with us.
Welcome in. There you see the Marshalltown girls basketball team here for team dinner. Now, the only one not over there is the one to my left, sophomore center, 6'2", Frankie Long. Frankie, thank you for joining us. As we look at your sophomore campaign, I got to witness my first ever watching a double-double that was rebounds over 20 and blocks. Just think that night, what is that when you look at the stat sheet or maybe when somebody tells you, did you ever think you were going to get a 20-10 double-double out of rebounds and blocks?
No, because I knew I had a lot of rebounds, and, I knew I was racking up blocks, but I did not know it was 20 and 10.
Yeah, and I was looking at it because we don't usually track individual rebounds and things like that, and Brandon and I looked at each other, and we were talking in a commercial. I was like, she's got to be close to 20 rebounds, and those blocks are up there. But you look at that side, if you go to Bound, you look at sophomore centers, you're near the top rebounds and blocks. If you look at the 4A level, you're near the top rebounds and blocks, specifically offensive rebounds. When you look at that side of your game, it feels like that's set. You're going to get better. You're going to grow. One of the things where you have jumped a little bit is on the scoring side. What really is your mindset as you go on the offensive end? What are you looking to do? Where do you look to grow?
I'm just trying to grow on using my body more and being more aggressive, and also offensive rebounds, making sure I'm crashing the boards every time a shot goes up.
And you look at that, and one of the things notice is it depends on the game, and Coach already said you've done a much better job staying on the court. Sometimes it feels like, refs officiate you a little bit different. There's some nights where you're going to get a foul because you're 6'2", and then as hot as I've ever seen Coach was about a week and a half ago or whatnot. How do you keep going and not just struggle to get frustrated when things aren't going your way?
Well, I just try to see how the refs are calling the game, and I know if I need to go super straight up or be more aggressive on the blocks.
And then you look at this. In this year, you guys have 5 wins. Last year, you had 6 wins. You're definitely growing and getting better. What are some of your goals for the team by the end of this year?
I hope that we score more on the three-point line and be more aggressive on our drives. But I just hope that we have a fun rest of the season and get more wins.
Yeah, and you look at that, and that's been it just seems more and more confident that you've been throughout your season. And again, 6.3 points per game, 8 rebounds, 3.2 blocks. Everything but rebounds are up. So when you look at going in against Roosevelt's good team, what do you think the key is for you to be successful tomorrow night?
I just think I need to come out with energy and have a positive mindset.
Hey, positive mindset goes a long way. If you can speak it, you can do it. I think that's the truth. But this has been Frankie Long. Bobcats have a big game tomorrow night, and this is one of the best sophomores in the state of Iowa, especially in the post, with just more room to grow. I got you as a double-double locked in every night your junior and senior year. So just have that. I think you can get there. You're a 10-10 person every day, all day. So that's what we're looking forward to. We still get more than 2 years with Frankie Long to watch her grow. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night to watch the Bobcats go down to Roosevelt and knock them off. You're watching Bobcat Live here on KFJB-TV at Wayward Social.
Marshalltown Community School District thanks you for voting yes in the referendum to move forward with the plan to remodel and modernize Miller Middle School and the enhancement to Franklin Field. We will continue to provide updates about this exciting project as they move forward in the process. There is so much positive energy for the future. Thanks for saying yes to our students and yes for Marshalltown. To learn more, go to marshalltowncsdfuture.com. Some say life is like a road trip. Is it a coincidence Scooter's Coffee is a drive-thru? We don't think so. Whether you need a coffee while you enjoy the view, to just get you through the long stretch, or to refuel between stops, Scooter's Coffee is there, brewing up delicious coffee, espresso blenders, smoothies, iced drinks, and more, with the convenience of a drive-thru so you can stay on the road and enjoy the ride. So go ahead, scoot on around. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Scooters in Marshalltown.
Welcome into Wayward Social inside here at Rosie's. I'm joined with Brooklyn Gudith along with Danielle Gudith, the wrestling cheer coach. How's it going tonight, ladies?
Good.
All right, Brooklyn, I want to talk to you a little bit. So Allie Morrison duel was Saturday. That's a big, long duel. Yeah. Both girls and guys wrestling. What is a big tournament like that? What does that day look like for you?
It starts super early in the morning and goes all the way to like 8 at night. And yeah.
We've got the cheer room ready.
So. Oh yeah, we have a cheer room too, so we have to get everything prepared for that. And yeah, be ready for all the other cheerleaders.
So all the wrestlers, like they say they put in a lot of effort, but they only have their weight class. You guys are out there for all the weight classes, so you guys actually probably have the longer day.
Yeah.
So do you feel like when you get up that next day, does it feel like you've been through a pretty big workout?
Yes.
And what is it wrestling cheer? Now I played basketball all the way throughout, but wrestling cheerleading is still one of the most unique things in the world. What is it about wrestling cheer that really drew you to it?
I would just say the environment. Like, it's super fun when like the wrestlers win. It's just like a super fun environment to be in.
And you look at Saturday, guys wrestling is doing great, got 4th place. But then you look at the girls. Girls are killing it.
Yeah.
So does it make that much more fun to see more and more success?
Yes.
So when Marshalltown beat Ames, because again it's everybody's favorite pastime, at the Roundhouse, were you on the mat that night cheering?
Yes.
So walk us through, how was that a pretty great experience?
Yeah, just like the environment again is just always so good. Like especially when we win like a tournament or a match even, it's just good. It's fun.
Awesome. And Danielle, I want to talk to you a little bit. You get to lead a really impressive group of ladies. What what kind of joy does that give you as a coach?
Oh, it's so much fun. These girls are great. They show up. They like you said, it's all day. The hours are long, and they know hundreds of cheers, so we have to work and work to learn all of our content. And then it's just, they're such a fun group to work with. It is a joy, yeah.
My goal was to learn one by this time this year, and I did not learn one. And when you say hundreds, that just blows my mind.
I was so proud. I thought I learned one, and then all of a sudden they're like, "You're doing it backwards." So I was like, I can't even figure it.
I'm just happy. Like wrestling cheers and TikTok dances were the same, but with TikTok going away, I don't have to worry about that anymore. But I can just be embarrassed by my lack of wrestling cheer knowledge.
There you go. Yes.
So Danielle, one of the things as you look at being in that role, but also getting the unique relationship with Brooklyn, looking at her from a coach perspective. And that, how much fun is it to work with her?
It's so much fun to work with her. And when we started out, she was kind of reluctant, and just to see her the last 3 years just really grow into her role. Now she's captain, so just to really grow into her leadership role has been super fun to watch.
And we talked a little bit with Val earlier, is there anything else from the cheer group that you'd like to share with us here tonight?
Just that we have senior night coming up on Thursday the 23rd, so senior night for the cheerleaders and the wrestlers, so make sure you come out for that home tournament.
All righty. This has been a great night here at Bobcat Live. Brooklyn and Danielle Guda from Wrestling Cheer. We got to talk to Val with Winter Cheer along with bowling, both guys and girls basketball as well. There is a ton of good squads here in Marshalltown. Make sure you keep supporting them and come out next week for Bobcat Live. Brandon will be back in the pilot seat, but thank you for watching Bobcat Live here tonight at Wayward Social inside at Rosie's. Thank you to David Bragg, our producer, and we will see you tomorrow night as we take on Roosevelt.